Hey there everyone, I am Jeff, your tabletop technician here in the Dice Tower. Today I'm going to tell you about a game with a one-of-a-kind theme where a man-made artificial intelligence has decided to eradicate all of mankind. That's right, no idea how they came up with that one, so let's see how it all works. Okay, so today I'm taking a look at Project GAIA, not to be confused with GAIA Project, which is a fairly heavy Euro game set in a distant universe. No, Project GAIA is a fairly light cooperative game set fairly close to home in our little Sol system. No, Sol system. Where GAIA, an artificial intelligence created perhaps with the best of intentions, has decided that Earth would be better off without any humans on it, and has turned a number of orbiting climate drones into weapons, using them to create dangerous, unsurvivable storms on Earth. Okay, so maybe designer Stephen Baker, who's been a driving force behind the game Heroescape, finally got his hands on some Isaac Asimov novels. I'm not really sure. But in Project GAIA, players will be moving around Earth and taking shuttles to the Moon, to Mars, and to the Gaia space station, all in the effort to determine the master reboot code, which someone, apparently conveniently, managed to misplace.
Hurry up, we really need that code.
I know, I'm looking.
Sir, are you ready to order?
Yeah, just 1 second. I'm trying to save the world. Players will be trying to land on these code tiles, flipping them over to reveal a number. A 1 means they found a code word that isn't one of the 3 that reboots Project GAIA. There are 4 of these code tiles on Earth, 1 on the Moon, 2 on Mars, 1 of which is a guaranteed success, and 4 on the Gaia space station, which houses the master controls for Gaia, but apparently can't simply be blown up, solving this problem the easy way. Okay, I digress. So far, this makes sense. It's simple, but it makes sense, so I'll keep going. Players will divvy up control of 12 different characters who will somewhat work together to try to save the planet. So in a 2-player game, you'll each get 6 characters to control. In a 6-player game, you'll each get 2. There are rules for a 5-player game, but the rulebook was challenging enough to get through as it was, so I have no idea how that works. Anyways, each character has a profession card with some base stats, which you'll then place over top of a movement card that adds some additional stats to 3 attributes: smarts, toughness, and skills. No, I didn't make those names up. On your turn, you reveal a movement card from this deck and follow the Gaia action on the card, which might reveal another one of these climate drones, move Gaia in orbit around her drones, reveal and activate a card from the Gaia deck, move Gaia's security agents at her station, or just let her think about the eradication of mankind. Climate drones are randomly placed during setup. A majority of them are passive, while a few of them are active. When Gaia orbits the Earth, she'll do nothing when she stops on a passive drone, but when landing on an active one, we'll reveal a number of cards from the drone deck, equal to the number of face-up active climate drones. These drone cards indicate a type of weather damage to apply to a specific quadrant of Earth. If a token has to be placed on a character or one of the 4 spaceships that start on Earth, they are permanently removed from play. The Gaia cards do a variety of, understandably, negative things to the players, but most importantly, one of the last 3 cards of the deck will be the Doomsday card. When this is revealed, all players immediately lose the game. After players activate Gaia, they'll choose one of their characters who haven't already moved in this round, and move it the number of spaces shown on the movement card. Lastly, they'll draw an action card to assign to that character, unless that character is on a ship, in which case they can optionally draw a ship system card instead. They can use either of these on the next round, which won't happen until all characters have been activated. So, players will be racing against Gaia, moving across the planet and the solar system to figure out the reboot code, all before Gaia either completely destroys Earth or everyone on Earth dies off, whichever happens first. Seems pretty straightforward, right? Well, let's get into it a little bit, shall we? For starters, leaving the planet in a spaceship is a rather complicated ordeal. First off, there's a whole section of the rules dedicated to solving who's currently in charge of the ship itself.
All right, I'm driving here.
No, I want to start driving. I think we need to get... No, the rules said that I can start driving.
A ship can depart Earth when the minimum number of characters are on board, or if one character on board has obtained a pilot card. Once in space, the ship will have to encounter a number of run cards depending on where they're going and which ship they're currently on board. These run cards will typically require a skill check, naming one of the 3 attributes characters possess, and a minimum value that must be reached from a combination of the attributes of just one character on board that ship, any cards that can be played by that or any other character on the ship, and one roll of a die, unless the chosen character or a played card has a reroll ability. Failing any of these cards will either damage your ship, kill members of the crew, or have other undesirable results. If the ship and the crew is still intact after resolving the last card, then the token of that ship is placed on the dock of the intended destination. These cards are pretty unforgiving, and I'm not entirely sure why you're required to have a certain number of characters on board and yet are only allowed to utilize the attributes of one character while that craft is traveling to its destination. I mean, is everyone else having a lunch break? And with only 4 ships in the game to reach 3 different destinations, you can only really afford to lose one of them before you've got some real issues to deal with. So now things are starting to look a little weird here, because even the toughest ship in the game can only withstand 3 damage, and that ship faces the most cards between destinations. And while even the rules point out that there are cards in the action deck that allow players to repair a ship, I'll be the one to point out that there are only 2 of the 46 cards in that deck that grant that option, and it of course has to be drawn by one of the characters on board that ship. And by the way, those ship system cards, those cards typically boost character attributes during the trip to a location. None of those cards allow you to repair a ship. So honestly, your chances of surviving just one trip through space is pretty small, never mind surviving 2 of them. And so again, if you lose more than one of your ships, you've got quite the uphill battle ahead of you. And the weirdness continues as you learn the fate of your fallen comrades. I mentioned that a round of the game represents every character in the game being activated one time. Once every character has moved, you'll reset all the character cards and they can be activated again. This, however, includes characters who have already perished in their plight to save Earth. Even characters who have died still have to take a turn, simply activating Gaia's actions as normal, meaning that Gaia could take multiple unchecked actions before an in-game character can do anything about it. And that character could be stuck on Earth with no remaining ships, or stuck on a planet with a ship unfit for the next voyage. You could even have everyone in the game still alive, but stuck on any of these locations with no realistic ability to get anywhere, waiting perhaps for a skeleton crew to grab the last few code word tokens on the Gaia space station. And that's how weird the game felt for us. We actually had incredible luck with very little damage to Earth, 3 successful shuttle launches, and no lost crew. And yet we still took turn after turn after turn with no real purpose, since we were down to just a few code word tokens left on the space station that we were waiting for a chance to collect. You'd think with that level of success, or just pure dumb luck, that we'd have no problem defeating Gaia. But even then we felt nearly hopeless as we went from turn to meaningless turn with no real ability to close the story. And there's still one thing I haven't discussed. Players are instructed to hold on to their code tokens, action, and ship system cards so that at the end of the game, players can score points from these items to determine who contributed most to the saving of Earth. That's right, this is actually a semi-cooperative game, leading players to potentially sabotage a spacebound ship to prevent their opponents from grabbing points, or allowing Gaia to target characters they don't control with her climate drones. Here's actually the funny part. As we speak, hobbyists are taking to BoardGameGeek.com to land 1-point scores of this game, complaining about their perceived intent to cash in on the popularity of another game by naming this game with such a similar title. But Project Gaia didn't rip off Gaia Project's name any more than Gaia Project ripped off Greek mythology, where Gaia was considered to be the god of the earth. It is beyond ridiculous to rate this game a 1 just because it has a similar title to another game. It is far more sensible to rate this game a 1 because it's a pretty awful game to begin with. Project Gaia is a complete luck fest that punishes players equally regardless of whatever luck they experience from play to play. And there's virtually no difference from game to game, except perhaps which cards are experienced when, or which drone tiles are revealed early on in the game. There's no way to adjust difficulty, and there's not even much strategy here, since even your movement is dictated by the cards you draw in the game, some of which allow for a single point of movement, which is essentially worthless. The theme actually seems to be on point until you read the story in the beginning of the rulebook, which teases an alien entity that's been detected in the solar system, and yet that alien is only portrayed in the titles of some of the Mars run cards you may encounter. And for that matter, why is Mars in the game? Why would we need a base on Mars or the Moon in order to manage an AI here on Earth? It all really stops making sense the more you think about it. There's also the flimsy cards, the boring player pawns, and the AI-generated art. There's the main board that doesn't even make it clear what actually constitutes a space for players to go to, and the ridiculous intent to make this semi-cooperative. And suddenly the title of this game is the least of its problems. I mean, they could have considered calling it GAIA Escape. That's an option. Cheers.
Hey everybody, thanks for watching another video on the Dice Tower. Hey, do you want to know what's going on with Dice Tower? Do you want to know about our events, our cruises, special things that we're going to do live here in the Dice Tower? Subscribe to Dice Tower Digest. Go to dicetowerdigest.com. It's a newsletter that we send out bi-weekly. We won't use your email for anything else. This is just to get you some information about the Dice Tower so you'll be up to date. Thanks for watching.
Today I'm going to tell you about a game with a one-of-a-kind theme where a man-made artificial intelligence has decided
I wish Paula was walking by right now. I really, really wish.
I don't think Paula would ask questions. She'd just keep talking.
Hurry up, Cleo. Get out of here.